And now a new report by PW Torch's Wade Keller indicates that Tony Khan might be done entirely with Baker as a talent.
Another chink in the armor of the facade that AEW is this happy place, all friends wrestling, everybody loves everybody, continues to prove that this is not the case. This time with the good doctor herself, Britt Baker, one of the pillars of AEW. One of the founding members of AEW, the very first female ever hired to the AEW roster. This was the Golden Girl. This was the girl that everybody said is going to be the top female star for AEW. Somebody that WWE would likely love to have come on over to their side. Britt Baker has been a locker room leader, or at least fancied herself to be. But somewhere along the way, she lost her way. Could it have been when she broke up with Adam Cole, or did the breakup with Adam Cole just have to do with this sudden bitchy attitude of Britt Baker? Who knows? Of course, we heard about her beef with MJF in the back. They got in an argument over MJF's girlfriend, narking Britt out for talking trash about MJF's match in the locker room, about how much time it got, and just more and more things continue to leak out from AEW about Britt Baker specifically. And of course, we had this bombshell drop by Wade Keller of the Pro Wrestling Torch. Wade Keller, I highly recommend. He is not talked about as much as your Dave Meltzers or even your Sean Ross Sapps and Fightfuls and that sort of thing. But Wade Keller's an OG. He's been doing the wrestling dirt sheets since the 80s. And you know what? He doesn't always break the big stories, but when he does, you can take it to the bank because Wade Keller's that good. I used to be a subscriber to the Torch. I am not now. And I used to even be a contributor to the Torch for a little bit. I wrote several articles for the Torch, like 8, 9, 10, something like that. So highly recommend them, but let's pop on over to what Wade Keller had to say specifically in this bombshell news drop of his. And of course, I'm pulling this up from Reddit because I am not a PW Torch subscriber. I did pop into their website. It's a bit messy. I couldn't find anything about it on the PW Torch website itself. So it is my assumption that it's behind a paywall. But here's what Wade had to say. She might be done with AEW. At least the feeling I'm getting from talking to people in AEW is Tony Khan might have her in the same category as some of the other wrestlers, where they just don't get a phone call and don't get called in to show up. There's a lot of frustration with her, I'm told, and I've heard this pretty consistently. She's widely unpopular in the women's locker room. One person said no one ever wants to see her come back, speaking of the women's locker room. Now, that is a bold, broad statement. I could imagine somebody on social media going, I am a women's wrestler in AEW and I want her back. Okay, fair enough. But I'm just telling you somebody's perception is nobody wants her back. That's how bad it is. Somebody is willing to tell me that, Keller said. There was the incident with her and MJF. I'm told that factors into her being off of television, but there are other issues with her that have come up. She has become increasingly difficult to work with in a general sense. She has always had a reputation for being difficult to work with. There was a specific situation recently, not counting the MJF situation, where people just threw their hands up. It wasn't like a huge deal, but it was enough to sort of be the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of just feeling like, you know what, we've got a strong women's division now compared to when she was on top, and we don't need to deal with her if she's going to be this difficult to work with. So that's where they are with her, Wade continued. I am told that the Adam Cole situation is not stopping her. There should be no heat on Adam Cole. He has nothing to do with her not being on TV. Obviously, she had some standout moments in AEW and became a star and was seen as a centerpiece act. But even back then, I was hearing about her reputation and being unpopular in certain circles and difficult to work with, and being fiercely territorial of her role in the company in a way that just felt unsustainable. And from what I'm hearing, at least the attitude right now, at the moment, the belief is Tony Khan is fed up enough that he's just going to focus his TV time on others. I don't know what that means in terms of her pay and her contract, and it's possible eventually things will change. At this point in asking around, you should not expect to see her back imminently. I gotta tell you, I am not pleased to see this kind of stuff. Britt Baker, I liked Britt Baker. I was rooting for Britt Baker. I was a fan of her. I want to see her succeed in this business. She was one of my favorite female talents. She's great on the mic. In ring, she's so-so. But on the mic, I mean, she could chop it up with anybody. I was highly disappointed with her big match with Sasha Banks. That was hyped up to be a classic, and a classic it was not. I don't know what's gotten into Britt. I don't know why her head is so big. Certainly, she's a doctor of dentistry, which is fantastic. Good for her. She should be happy about that. But as far as in wrestling, she was one of the pillars for AEW. She was the top star in the women's division. Maybe she got salty somewhere along the way that every time Tony brought in a new women's wrestler, they had to go through Britt Baker, kind of like Seth Rollins in WWE. Every new guy that debuts in WWE at the top of the card goes through Seth Rollins to cement themselves as a player. Same thing with Britt Baker. You're coming into the company. Oh, you want to get a good push to start? Let's put you over on the good doctor, Britt Baker. The drama that continues backstage. I think Britt feels an ownership over the locker room backstage, especially the women's locker room, where she feels like she is the queen bee. And perhaps she's earned that spot just from, being the first hire in the women's division and being that benchmark that everybody has to go through. But I got to tell you, this is not a good look for Britt Baker. Maybe she could come back as a heel and be able to use this to get some more heel heat on TV. But if this is leaking out to the public now, I think the fans will end up turning on her as well. And I don't know that there will be such a huge demand to have her back anytime soon, which at one point I believe there was. Britt's got her fans. And look, Britt is a great addition to the roster. It would be nice to have, but I think Tony's right on this one. Their women's division is strong enough, star power-wise, where they don't really need Britt Baker at this point. Now, how strong, Sasha Banks and all of that, they're all, the women's division isn't strong, but they have enough strong personalities that they could work with that they don't need Britt. They got Jamie Hayter back now. They're building up. They got Toni Storm. She's rocking on all cylinders. They're building up Mariah May. I just don't know that Britt is. She's not essential to the women's. It's not like, oh my God, if we got rid of Britt Baker, our women's division would be, a fluke. That's not the case. But we all know how Tony likes to act with his wrestlers, and I would not suspect to see Britt leaving AEW anytime soon either. He'll rather just sit people at home on the couch and pay them to do nothing so that WWE doesn't take them, or so that they don't continue to build their star power for them to go to WWE. Just getting the Rey Fenix treatment right now, or the Ricky Starks treatment right now. Not a great spot to be if you're the good doctor. She wants to come back in, and then she's going to come in and just be a bitch backstage. I don't think anybody's got time for that. So it's sad to see. I wish she would do better as a human being. Of course, we'll say that with a grain of salt because we don't know all the details. Maybe there's a frustration on her side that's not being leaked. But again, I trust Wade Keller. He does not want to just report drama for the sake of reporting drama or stirring shit up. If he's saying a number of people think and feel this and are saying this out loud backstage, then you can take that to the bank. Great work here by Wade, and it's a bombshell for AEW. And again, another chink in the armor of everything's okay in AEW. This was their reputation for a long time, and then somewhere around the Punk days, words started coming out that the locker room was divided and cliquey and drama, and it's just continued to be that way. I recently did a short. Action Bronson was on the Ariel Helwani show, and he recently said he didn't like the backstage area in AEW because it's all cliquey and weird back there, was kind of his exact words. It's weird and cliquey back there. So I'll leave it there. I'd love to know your thoughts, though. Are you excited to see Britt Baker come back? Are you team Britt Baker? Fuck AEW, bring her into WWE where they can make her a bigger star, all of that jazz. Or are you kind of more team Tony Khan on this? Fuck Britt Baker. If she's going to be a bitch backstage and an egomaniac and she's going to be starting drama all the time, she's just not needed anymore, and she's not as big as she thought she was, and we don't need her as bad as she thinks that we need her. Let me know your thoughts down in those comments below. Of course, we'll continue to keep an eye on this, and if any updates come or anything changes, I'll be happy to talk about them here. Peace, love, and pizza. I am your boy, Seth Grimes. Stay warm out there. It's cold as shit, so I got my toque on. My toque. It's a toque. Got my toque on. Stay warm. And we'll catch you in the next video.
Ooh, yeah. Thanks for checking out the video. You can check out more great clips by hitting that subscribe button below. Yeah. While you're there, don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Ooh, yeah. Did it.